Hey there, problem solvers. Welcome to social studies. Now, today in social studies, I want to take another look at this book. I know we read this last week and we're not going to read it all again today, but I love this book. And I think that there are a lot of lessons that we can learn as active citizens by studying the people in this book. What I want us to focus on today is looking at all of the different ways the people in this book protested. The title, 20 Protesters Who Changed America. But not one of these people protested in the same way. There are a myriad of different ways that people can stand up for what they believe in and inspire real change. And so today, as we read through it, I want us to think of the different ways these people protested. And keep those in mind because at the end, I might be asking you to choose a form of protest. But I'll get to that at the end of the video. For right now, let's take another look at the people in this book. So, we talked about Samuel and his Tea Party, the Boston Tea Party, and how they threw tea in the harbor. Now, their form of protest was destroying property. That's not quite as nonviolent as the other ones. So I think, as glad as I am in retrospect that they got their point across during this protest, I think we can take some inspiration, some more peaceful inspiration from the following pages. So let's keep going. Okay, Harriet led the way. So we talked about the Underground Railroad last week and about how it wasn't really a railroad. It was a path that people took to escape slavery. And Harriet risked her life to free these people from slavery. So her form of protest were to break certain laws and help people even though it was illegal. Susan cast her vote. Same thing. She knew. See how angry these men here are? She knew that these people, that men would be angry that she was voting, but she did it anyway. Woody wrote a song to protest. Remember, we listened to This Land Is My Land, This Land Is Your Land. So writing a song can be a form of protest. Rosa kept her seat. This is a good one, a sit-in. Rosa didn't do anything except sit and not move. That is a very common example of a non-violent protest. She didn't yell, she didn't scream, she didn't kick or fight. She just sat down. Even though it was illegal and even though she knew it would make people mad. Ruby went to school. Again, her form of protest is a completely different one. She didn't sit down somewhere. She didn't write a song. All she did was went to the all-white school because she knew that she deserved the same education as any of those other kids, even though they were mad. So I think it's another example of somebody doing what they know is right, even though it would make people mad. Rachel wrote a book. It was a great form of protest, a great way to get your thoughts out there. And this is exactly what you guys are doing in writing right now. Your persuasive books are a form of protest. You should be really proud of that. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. Martin, let me move myself. Martin had a dream. So I think we're all familiar with Martin's I Have a Dream speech. Martin's form of protest was to give an impassioned speech and convey his information that way. Cesar and Dolores said no grapes. They also made speeches, organized marches. You see the signs here that people held up in the marches. That is how they grew their movement, and that is how they conveyed their information. Muhammad refused to fight. So he didn't really even do anything. He just refused to do the thing that he knew wasn't right. Another form. Tommy and John raised their fist. So another form of nonviolent protest. They didn't yell, they didn't scream. All they did was one movement on national television that got their message across to a huge audience. By raising their fists, they were showing that they disagree with how Black people were being treated in the country, and it got the attention of the entire nation. John and Yoko stayed in bed. We didn't get a chance to talk about this one last week, but this is John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and they protested the Vietnam War by refusing to get out of bed until it was over. Almost like a boycott. Do you remember what the word boycott means? Refusing to do something or use a service until things change. It's almost like that. Gilbert Soda Rainbow. We didn't get a chance to look at this one either, but Gilbert stood up for LGBTQ rights by making rainbow flags for people to use to celebrate what makes them them. So creating a symbol, that's a good way to look at it. He created a symbol for people to use to show that they're proud of who they are. So creating a symbol is another good way of protesting. Jazz wore a dress. Do you guys remember when I read you the read aloud, I am Jazz? This is the exact same story. Jazz is a transgender girl who grew up being told that she was a boy, and she knew that wasn't true, so she started wearing dresses. And even that, something as small as that, is absolutely a form of protest. And now, because of her, so many other transgender children across the country and across the world are more comfortable being who they are. So good job, Jazz. Colin took a knee. You guys might have heard about this one. This was pretty recently. This football player refused to stand up during the national anthem at a football game because he was upset about how the country has been treating Black people, understandably. So instead of hurting people and instead of yelling and shouting, he just said, no, I will not stand up for the national anthem because my country will not stand up for me. And it made a lot of people mad, but he did it anyway. And he inspired others to do the same and really start a national conversation. America said time's up. This was a movement very recently about women's rights. Do you guys remember the I don't know if you remember hearing about the Women's March in Washington, D.C. in 2016, but that is how they chose to protest. And I was actually there, so I was a part of it. We, a million, I don't remember the exact number, but a humongous number of women went to National D.C. and marched in the streets peacefully as a form of protest about how women are treated in the country. I can show you a picture of me there if you're interested. Parkland demanded never again. This one happened after a school shooting, a very unfortunate event. And again, they formed a march. And at the march, people gave speeches. So it was a little bit of both. Okay, so in the book, we saw people protesting in a myriad of different ways. Not just giving speeches or not just marching in the street, but there were people who wrote songs, wrote books, gave speeches, all different kinds of ways to get your information out there. And so, this is my challenge for you. Like I already said, you guys are already, even if you're not aware, participating in a form of protest by writing your persuasive books. Your books are protesting or standing up for for less police brutality, or to save our oceans, or to help rescue animals who need it. You guys are already protesting by starting these books. But as we just learned, writing books is not the only way. So I had the idea that we can take our persuasive books and take them a step further and turn those books into our own form of protest. So maybe your persuasive book turns into a script for a video that you're going to post and share across the world. Maybe your book is going to turn into a passionate speech that you are going to give in front of a room full of people or in front of a video camera. Maybe your book turns into an informational poster that you can post everywhere and get information out. Maybe you do a PowerPoint. There are so many different ways, and we're going to brainstorm those ways together. But I want you guys to take the information that you're learning while writing your persuasive books and take it a step further. Really show what you can do as active citizens. So think about that. Start thinking about how you might want to protest what you're writing about, and come back to Zoom and we'll start planning. I'm really excited about this project. I love that it's bringing our writing project and our literacy skills and our social studies subject all together in one. I'm very excited, and I will see you on Zoom. Bye.